Hello, my name is George. Welcome to GLLR Cars. Welcome to the channel. Today we're talking about different sources from where you can buy cars. And there are different ways in which you can go and shop for a car, whether it's a new car or a used car. And today we're just going to go over the various sources and how they may apply for you. Started, I want to show you something that happened just a few days ago. I was driving down the road and a rock chip hit the windshield and it impacted right around here. I don't know if the camera can capture that, but there's an impact right there, and now there is a crack that extended all the way halfway across the windshield. So this is it's not fun to discover that. In all the years that I've been driving, I've only been victim of one other incident where I was hit by a rock chip like that. So anyways, it's an insurance claim and it's already in the works, and I'm supposed to take it over to the place where they're going to replace the glass in a couple of days. So it should be taken care of, but just trying to share how frustrating it is. Now, going back to the topic at hand, let's say that you're going ahead and you're looking to buy a car and you're not sure if it's going to be something that you're going to do online, something you're going to go to a dealer, something you're going to order. There's many different ways of doing it. The first thing you need to determine is whether or not you want to buy a used car or a new car. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, that you're going to buy a used car. If you're going to buy a used car, there basically are the traditional type of sources, which are the dealers, the dealer networks. They all have a used car, or like they call pre-owned department, where you can go ahead and buy a car. There is the traditional, that's the traditional source. Then there is the dealers. They all have websites where you can search their inventory, and pretty much every dealer has this nowadays, even the small ones do. Then you have the car search sites. The car search sites are those that will look for dealer inventory in many locations, and these sites are known to show sources, whether they're personal sources, company sources, business sources, fleet, you name it. So that's another source. You have then those sites that usually sell used cars exclusively, and they usually are set up so that you can shop online, and those are the likes of Carmax, AutoNation, and Carvana. And then you have those sites that appeal to those who are willing to take the risk and look for something that may be salvaged or has been in an accident or things of that nature. And those sites are like auction related sites, and the likes of Copart is one of the more popular ones. So just to explore all of these, the important thing to know is that the first thing you're looking to do is how much are you willing to save, and how much are you willing to risk, and how convenient or inconvenient is your car search going to be. There are many sources of discounts and options that are out there from dealers, and many dealers, they'll have basically just about every holiday, they will list some kind of an incentive to say, well, this car is going to have so many different discounts and so forth. So there is that aspect of it. If you look at negotiating by using the internet, I can pretty much tell you that that's going to be a better way to negotiate, because the dealers will be competing against one another. If the dealers are competing with one another, the one person that stands to gain is the consumer. That would be you. So if you look at very specifics, and you have to be very, very specific about what you want. If you know the packages and the options and even the color and everything that you want, manual transmission, auto transmission, and you put together your wish list of exactly what you want, and you compare it apple to apple, then you'll know that you can at least start with the lowest price and go to another dealer and see if they can beat that price. And that works. In fact, I've done that in the past. So there's that option. There is the one where they have, and I'll use another example. This is another one that I did. I went to the Car Guru's website and I started searching for deals, and Car Guru's has a way where it looks at the year of the car, the miles of the car, and then the price, and it predicts whether it's a good deal, a fair deal, a great deal, a bad deal, or poor deal, like they call it. And I'm going to put a link in the description to all of these. What's interesting about that site is that they list in about, I would say, 60 to 70% of the cars, they list the Carfax report. It will even have a summary where it shows you, was that car salvage? Was it fleet? Was it a rental? Has it been in an accident? Was it stolen? So there are many different factors that you might want to know when you're buying a used car. And as I mentioned in another video before, it is important that you minimize the risk. There's always a risk that is inherent to buying a used car. So the more you minimize it, the less likely that you are to buy a car that may not be a good car. So if we look at some sources that maybe I'm not too fond of, are those where you need to meet with an individual one-on-one, and these are just listings that may be out there, popular ones like Craigslist and such. Yeah, you can find some good deals, but at the same time, you could probably find yourself in a situation where someone is just trying to get rid of a car that may have an issue that may not be apparent to the eye. So speaking about what's not apparent to the naked eye, it's always a good idea to have someone who's either a mechanic or very good about the mechanical aspects of a car to be able to look it over, give it a once over, and look at some of the most important parts that will be very expensive to repair if they're missed when you're buying a car. So there's something else to consider right there. So going back, so to summarize, we have the dealer network, we have the dealers online, and then online you have the likes of Carmax, Carvana, AutoNation, and some of these are very well known for having a lot of different choices. So the more choices that there are, the better you can make out. You also have some specialty dealers. So in most major cities in the US, you will find that there are some specialty dealers that will do the likes of German cars, sports cars, luxury cars. Sometimes they mix them up. In the Dallas area, for instance, there are dealers that sell specifically just BMW. There's some that sell specifically Mercedes. There's some that do all types of luxury vehicles. There's one that does only Jeeps. So it depends on what you're looking for. It depends the type of specialty dealer that you seek. When it comes to the car search sites, I talked a little bit about Car Gurus and my experience there. There's also Edmunds. Edmunds is also pretty good in terms of having a very broad list, and you can search by zip code just like in Car Gurus. And then there's Tempest. Tempest tries to take the best of all of the online searches and put them all together. They do try to make it a one-stop shop. I'm very picky about how I browse and how easy it is for me to get around. And yes, it is a vast source, but it is probably not the easiest browsing for me. Again, it's just a matter of choice, but that's what basically you can determine if you like it or not. And when it comes to the auction sites, you have the likes of Copart, and then you have something like eBay Motors, for instance, that some people use, and they use it successfully. I haven't used that one myself, but it's one that some people use it and they like it. I'm going to tell you a story about a car that I was searching for, and before I knew what the different sources of vehicles there were, I just pretty much was looking everywhere. And it was the spring of 2015, and came across a dealer inventory of cars that were not in the same calendar year. So they had them listed at a price that I didn't think it was a good deal. It was just the price that was the same as any other 2015 model year, but they had a 2014 in the lot. Actually, they had a few of them. And I went ahead and called a sales rep that I knew at that dealership, and I asked him, what's the story with this car? It looks like it's at least one that I like from the previous year, and it looks like it's not priced correctly. And as a matter of fact, he called me back mentioning that they were actually getting ready to put some discounts on those vehicles. So just to make sure that I would be getting a good deal and be thorough about it, I went online and compared cars like that and see what was the lowest priced. Went to the dealer after I got the price that I thought was a good price, but it wasn't quite as low as I wanted. I wanted to get a better deal than that. It was only like within $500 lower than what I could find online. And I'm the type that I don't like to bluff. If I know that I'm not getting a good deal and I'm willing to walk out, it won't be a bluff. I'm just willing to walk out. So to make a long story short, I told them I was not happy with it and started to head my way out the door, and lo and behold, they called me back and of course got some manager or some sales director or whoever it was. They always play those games to say that it was going to take someone higher up to give me the discount that I sought. So they went ahead and gave me that discount, and I ended up buying that car. What car is that? That is the Ford Focus. Ford Focus is one of the cars in the fleet, and it's a car that I featured on the last video. I was driving it when I was talking about car buying tips, but nevertheless is just a story to illustrate that there is no one cookie cutter way of finding the best deal. Not every deal is unique, but some situations are, and if you're able to take advantage of that situation, you can get a good deal. So whether or not you like any of the sources that I mentioned before, in the end, it is very important that you read the reviews, you do your research, and the more you know, the more dangerous you will be, because no one will be able to wave their arms and try to sell you something that you don't want or you don't need, try to just inflate the expectations, etc., when you know exactly what you're getting. And one last bit that I can share with you is that there are sites that show the average sold price for cars based on the packages, based on the year and the mileage, etc. And then you know where within that bell curve, within that average, you would be. So you'll know if you're getting a good deal or not. But by just doing the research and seeing what all the prices are, you'll know pretty soon where that range is. So in the end, most people use Kelley Blue Book, and Kelley Blue Book allows you to appraise your own car or see what whether it's the private sale or the exchange or trade-in value of a car is, and they have a min, a low, and a max based on how well a car is, how good in shape it may be. But that is also depends on, you know, the shape of the car that you're searching for. My name is George. This is GLLR Cars, and as always, drive safe.